Next Friday, June 19th, a historic agreement may be reached between the United States and Iran, which would end a war that has lasted more than 100 days. The initial strike killed Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and dozens of commanders and officers on February 28th. The stated goal was to severely degrade Iran's ballistic missile program and prevent nuclear advancements. After months of intense fighting, with significant losses on both sides and a global economic impact, negotiations gained momentum. Mediators such as Pakistan, Qatar, Turkey, and Egypt helped broker the agreements. American President Donald Trump announced the electronic signing of the long-awaited Memorandum of Understanding with Iran after more than 30 announcements that negotiations were progressing. The document provides for a 60-day truce, the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, the end of the American naval blockade of Iranian ports, and the start of technical negotiations on the Iranian nuclear program. The formal signing ceremony is scheduled for Friday, June 19th in Geneva, Switzerland. American sources say the text doesn't specifically require Israeli withdrawal from Lebanon. An anonymous U.S. official told American media this issue is still being discussed. The agreement is a ceasefire, and Israel retains the right to defend itself if Hezbollah attacks. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declared that Israeli forces will remain in Lebanon for as long as necessary to eliminate threats, and that Israel has created a security zone in the south of the country. However, there is a major problem at this moment. It seems that Iran has backed down. The Iranian Foreign Minister, Abbas Araghchi, stated in a meeting with diplomats in Tehran that the Memorandum of Understanding signed with the United States requires the end of the Israeli occupation of Lebanese territories taken during the current war. Without this withdrawal, according to him, the war will not truly end. Regional sources with knowledge of the negotiations confirmed to British media that the preliminary understanding provides for the Israeli withdrawal from almost all the occupied area in southern Lebanon, except for some elevated points on the border. This Iranian demand comes at a delicate moment. On the previous Friday, June 12th, a truce came into effect between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon. The ceasefire brought relief to the populations on both sides of the border and paved the way for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, partially easing the pressure on the global energy supply. Iran interprets this truce as an integral part of the larger agreement with the United States. Israel, on the other hand, sees the Lebanese front differently. Araghchi was straightforward, quoting him, "The end of the war in Lebanon is an inseparable part of the complete end of the war. The end of the war also includes the end of the occupation. Without the withdrawal of Israeli forces from the territories they occupied in this war, the war has not truly ended." End quote for Araghchi. He also added that any Israeli military attack on Lebanon from now on would be seen by Iran as a violation of the memorandum. On the Lebanese side, Hezbollah did not formally sign the truce, but indicated that it would respect it if it is comprehensive and leads to a complete Israeli withdrawal. The Lebanese president, Joseph Aoun, is seeking for the Lebanese army to assume exclusive control of the area south of the Litani River. Israel, meanwhile, plans to maintain a presence in a strip about 10 kilometers deep until it considers the threats eliminated. Militarily, Israel has managed to degrade a significant part of Hezbollah's capabilities in southern Lebanon through ground and air operations. The group, however, still maintains capacity for asymmetric attacks and a presence in other regions of the country. A prolonged occupation imposes logistical and security costs on Israel, while withdrawal, without robust guarantees of Hezbollah's disarmament or effective control by the Lebanese state, poses a risk to the communities in northern Israel. Iran uses its influence over Hezbollah and its temporary control over the Strait of Hormuz as leverage. The reopening of the strait after the Lebanese truce shows Iran's willingness to de-escalate, but with conditions. If Israel does not withdraw, Iran may interpret it as a violation and resume pressure measures, including possibly closing the strait again or renewing support for proxy groups. The Memorandum of Understanding has not yet been published in full. The differing interpretations regarding Lebanon create room for misunderstandings, which could cause the agreement to collapse even before the formal signing on Friday. Israel is not a signatory to the memorandum between the United States and Iran, which complicates the implementation of any clause that involves it. If the agreement moves forward, a 60-day period will open for deeper negotiations on the Iranian nuclear program, sanctions, and regional stability. Israel could consolidate gains against Hezbollah without immediate risk of control. Stabilize limited gains. Israel would also have room to stabilize its gains, while Iran would avoid more losses in a war of attrition. If the deal collapses, fighting could resume instantly. Iran faces disasters. If the agreement fails, the resumption of hostilities will be a matter of seconds. Close the Strait of Hormuz again, drastically raising oil prices. Israel may face pressure to end operations in Lebanon while watching Iranian threats. Senator Mora reported direct Iranian threats and attempts. Lebanon, already weakened, would suffer new waves of destruction and displacement. The outcome depends on how the parties interpret the unpublished text and on internal political pressures. Netanyahu faces pressure not to give up territory without lasting security guarantees. The Iranian government, in turn, after the death of its supreme leader and military losses, seeks to restore some normalcy without losing regional influence. The United States, under Donald Trump, prioritizes ending an expensive and unpopular conflict while maintaining its alliances. In practice, any lasting agreement will require Israel, Lebanon, and Hezbollah to reach parallel understandings on the border, disarmament, and military presence. Without this, the Lebanese border remains a permanent point of friction. Friday's signing, if it happens, will mark the end of the most acute phase of this conflict that has lasted more than 100 days. But true peace will still depend on concrete steps on the battlefields of southern Lebanon and at the negotiating tables regarding Iran's nuclear future. The Middle East remains in a very fragile balance, where every military or diplomatic decision can reshape the situation in seconds, minutes, hours, or even days. It's always a privilege to bring you exclusive information here on YouTube. I kindly ask you to contribute any amount to our Pix Key, channel airmeritarofigmail.com. By doing so, you will be helping to support the continuation of our work. So,